Hey, this particular video may surprise you if you're coming up to the channel on Saturday to watch the weekend debate. If you don't know what the weekend debate is, it means it's probably the first time you're coming to the channel. So welcome. My name is Kamga, and on this channel there are videos about immigration, creativity, relationships, and personal development. What is the weekend debate, you ask? I'm going to put in a link here for the two videos that we did for the last 2 weeks. I'm going to ramble a little bit, so I'm going to put a timestamp for when I actually start talking about the thing that I'm going to talk about in this video right here on the screen, so you can just go right there and start watching. But if you hold on, I would explain it to give you some context, because I like to have context when I'm watching a video that doesn't make sense or doesn't meet my expectations. Essentially, on Saturdays on the channel, I do a debate style video. It's live streamed on Facebook and YouTube, where I talk with people about complex topics that I think are not very either they're not very straightforward, or they require a lot more digestion and understanding and perspective and discussion. And we've done 2 of such videos and people seem to like it, and I intend to continue doing it. I'm going through some stuff. The content of this video, the idea of immigration, the feelings that go with it, has to do with it. So as you're watching this video right now, I'm not here. I'm actually hiking with my friends Taylor and Jerod. I decided to take some time off. Well, not time off, more like actually go hike with my friends. A lot of what happens during the immigration process that I think many people don't talk about is the feelings that come with the territory. I think there's excitement in the beginning of moving to a new place. There are things that change, there are lessons that you learn, there are people who support you. There's all these changes that go on. But one aspect that has really been hitting me hard for the past, I'll say almost a year, is some aspect of identity. I shared that one of my stories was featured on Medium. A featured story basically means that Medium saw my story, thought it was really cool. I worked with an editor, a senior managing editor at Medium, and then we fixed the story and it was published. So that story was published 2 days ago. What I want to do now is to give you a glimpse of what that story is. I want to read that story to you, and then we'll talk about some of the content in the story. So this actually is an immigration video. This is a video to talk about the idea of the American dream from a Cameroonian perspective. I've been living in the US now for 2 years. I moved here to join my wife. We're married now, and a lot has happened in 2 years. In fact, it feels like 10 years to me. So what I'm going to do in this video is read that story, maybe not all of it, because I actually want you to go read the story on Medium, because when you read on Medium, I make money. And I'll put a friend link in the description so that you can actually click and you don't have to pay to read the story. The story was published in Level, which is a publication on Medium. The title of the story is "There is no American Dream for a Black Man." The original title of the story was "They Lied About America." So I put like an apostrophe instead of America, I said America. And the subtitle is "Growing up in Cameroon, I believed America was the only dream, but the reality is much more complicated." I wrote this article in March 18, 2019, and it featured it recently. And it's been getting a lot of reads because it was featured essentially, and it was pretty cool. So let's read the story. As a kid, I always knew I would leave Cameroon to pursue my education. My older cousins had left, and talks about higher education in the country were hopeless. I was the firstborn son, still am. So it only made sense that my parents would go into debt, borrow from ndjangui houses, and find a way for me to join my cousins in Germany or the US. The image of my impending escape was so clear that when I turned 17 and finished secondary school but didn't leave Cameroon, I had no idea what to do with my life anymore. It crushed me so hard that I almost never took the leap of faith to move to the US again. At 17, I lost all hopes of building a future in my own country, partly because I let my parents' insistence on college overshadow my own ambitions, but also because I didn't have a backup plan if my dreams of leaving the country failed. When I moved on to college, the usual adventures followed. I lost my virginity, found friendships, drank myself into stupor, I broke hearts and got my heart broken. Over the next few years, I became who I thought I was, on my own terms. I had an identity and some image of what I thought my life meant. Discussions about the meaning of life, our roles as humans, our place in society aren't conversational staples in Cameroonian culture. Yet, fed by the largely American content I consumed, I gravitated to introspection, something that molded my perspective then and even more so now as an immigrant. My worldview was influenced by books I read, videos and podcasts. I found mentors in people who showed me a world I couldn't see around me, a world where learning only required that I made the time to learn, a world where it was okay to be misunderstood. Part of me was aware of how different my world was from these authors and speakers, but I desperately believed in them. I started thinking and walking like them, in my mind at least, and quoting them every chance I got. There is truth in the power of belief and hustle, but there is also truth in the reality of being born into privilege and not having to deal with the color of your skin among other things, on a daily basis, or being creative in a country that didn't give a bird's poop about it. I like that part. But the people who never took it upon themselves to paint an accurate reality of this world I believed in, the people who didn't take the time to warn kids like me and others who had lost any hope of a future in Cameroon, they are the ones who left before us. Those we've always called bush followers because they went to bush, greener pastures, compared to ours. Now that I've been in the US for almost a year, actually almost 3 years now, I will be the first to admit that the reality of living abroad hits you in waves most people aren't equipped to understand or process. If I tell someone outside of the US that I got lost using the RTD bus service in Colorado, I would need to provide details of how this service works, map routes, the general feeling of unease, and weather factors. If I tell someone about looking for the best prices in Walmart or King Soopers, they might not understand the difference between organic and regular products. Supermarkets, for example, are few and far in between in Cameroon. We have markets that are barely organized. You need to rely on memory to move through or find anything. The simplest example of these differences and the difficulties to communicate is snow. At some point, most kids have seen snow in a foreign movie, but they've never touched it. They've never watched it fall on their skin. How do I expect them to understand how it feels to be in a snowstorm or drive in the snow? The parts of living abroad that cannot be explained are unfortunately the parts that many of the bushfallers spend time on. There's racism in America. You pay a lot of taxes. You work all day. The food is different. The roads are huge. Though helpful, these things steal from the range of truths that an immigrant needs before they leave their home country. Whether intentional or not, by omission or ignorance, these bushfallers never paint an adequate image of what it means to leave behind everything you've ever known to build an identity and home in a new land. I'm going to stop here, and the rest of the story is in the link below. In fact, all the stories that I've ever written, they're on Medium right now. And I wanted to read this particular story because the reason why I'm not doing the weekend debate is because the past week has been it's actually been rough on me. Yeah, let's be straightforward. The past week has been rough, and if anything, every time I get to this place where I feel like, things are broken down inside and I don't feel mentally strong to carry on, to create, to write, to keep making these videos and keep writing articles. I've not written on Medium in like 3 weeks. So there's a jumble. There's a part of me that is like, man, I can't believe that there are people in my life who've not seen me publishing for the past 2 weeks, and then they're not even reaching out to say like, hey, Kamga, what's going on? That's like the part of me that wants that relationship, that connection with people who care for me, basically. That is part of me that wants that had it in Cameroon, had people who would show up, randomly in your house, in your room, and see that you've been there for the past week, and then just take you out to buy soya or something. I'm talking to people like Howard, Mark, like my friends that I left in Cameroon. Then there's a part of me that knows that no matter how much I want people to support me and show love and be mentally supportive and all those, good human things that we need, it boils down to me actually, I don't know how I can put this. It's like a polarity of, yes, we want to be supported, we want to be loved, we want people to care for us, we want our friends to show up for us. But then there's the other part of, if our friends don't show up for us and we lose, we can't blame our friends. We can't blame our parents. We can't blame society. We can't blame Trump. We can't blame the American government. When I say we, I mean me, because I want to build the kind of life that allows me the freedom to do whatever I want. And no matter how many times I read articles, see books, and see things, like I'm so much more aware of what it takes to do that now, that the difficulty of being an immigrant pales in comparison to the difficulty of being me. And what does that even mean? It's like, whether I was in Cameroon or the US, there are things that I feel right now that I'll feel the same way. But I feel like it's a little bit more painful in the US because there's so many things that I'm learning from scratch that I never had to learn in Cameroon. There are many connections and many relationships that not that I lost, but they are no longer available for me to tap into and make use of. Everything that I have is like phones and that's it, like Zoom calls. I think if anything, now that there's COVID, people are getting a glimpse of what it feels like to have to only stay in contact with the people that you care about, digitally. And there's a different aspect to that digital world that most people don't talk about. And so the weight of that, which as you see in the articles and other things I wrote about immigration, the weight of moving to a new country and changing, something that I don't even know if they're actually therapists that are, trained to only deal with immigrants. My first therapist actually was an immigrant herself, and there were aspects of what I was talking about that she could understand and really, get through. My therapist now, I would say, has difficulties understanding where I'm coming from because cultural difference and all that. And so that I've gotten to a particular point where I feel like the only person who can actually help me is me. I know it sounds very selfish, it sounds very egotistical. I mean, it sounds, when you hear it like, whoa, Kamga, you think you're so better than everybody that you think that the only person who can do anything is you. But hear me out. No matter how, like, if the doctor gives you medication, or you get, a prescription, you get a recommendation for a book to read, medication to take, at the end of the whatever steps, somebody writing the prescription, somebody paying for it, getting that and coming home, you still need to take the medication. And so this week has been tough, man. It's been tough, and I've risen above the level to be able to actually make this video. I wasn't able to reach out to the panelists that I wanted. I wasn't able to actually have the conversation that I needed to get. I had to cancel a bunch of appointments. Some appointments, people actually did not reach out to me. I was like, yes, thank God. I don't know if anybody does that, but I know it's not cool, and it's not like it's fine. It's one of those, like, I'm holding on to the straws of my sanity, and just whatever it's not necessary for me to stay afloat, I'm fine. Like, I'm really fine with failing at many things insofar as I'm winning at the real things. And for me, the real thing right now is this sense of control, this sense of freedom, knowing that I can actually do what I want to do. I think that's one big thing that I think changed when I moved here. That freedom, that control of knowing how to manage my time, like the ability to manage this space, this room in which I am right now, those small things that give me, it's like I'm getting my power back, my power to feel like I'm in control. Because there's so many things that are going wrong in the world, like COVID, deaths, sickness, life, work, like the list is long. But I feel like if you don't have something you can even control at a small level, if you don't have like a space, it gets worse. And when you move to a new country, you lose that sense of control in a way, because wherever you go, you have to start learning everything. You have to ask questions. You need to take directions. There's nothing that you can comfortably do with the feeling of, I know what I'm doing. You have to learn everything. And that learning process takes a while, especially when you move as an adult. And it's something that I'll be talking a lot about. So I don't want to make this video longer than it needs to be. And I would like you to go and read the article. So right now, Jerod and Taylor and I are hiking somewhere in Bishop's Castle. I will take some pictures and videos. I'll probably bring them. I don't know. I'm not sure. But definitely next weekend, we're going to kick off with the weekend debate. If you haven't watched the videos, I've put the links in the description. I'm going to put some of the videos on the screen as well. I'll put one somewhere here that you can watch a playlist for the weekend debate. And I just want to end this video by saying that if you're an immigrant yourself, or if you know somebody who's an immigrant, if you're watching this, maybe you're in Cameroon, you're in the US, wherever you are, and you have somebody who left their home country, I would plead that you talk with them with more compassion than you would regularly do. I think it's something that I wish I have a lot more, because people assume that because you're in a different country, let's say maybe you live from Cameroon to the US, because you're in a country that has PayPal and more services and all that, then you're fine. Like, when I say fine, it means like you've upgraded your life, you've upgraded your existence, you've upgraded your problems, basically. In fact, you've upgraded your problems, because the difficulties that you're going through now, you literally need to find the vocabulary to explain that. And so I took this week, I had a medical appointment, I didn't work for a couple of days, and I wanted to just go out there and clear my mind, hang out with some friends that I made when I was in college before I dropped out. And so, yeah, I feel pretty good about it. I feel like I'm getting that sense of control back and just taking steps forward in the direction of freedom. And I could talk for days about this, but I don't need to, because I think you get my point. So thanks for watching the video. Thanks for staying on the channel. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. And if you want a reason to subscribe, well, I'm working on curating and creating content for people like me, creatives, immigrants, people who like and believe that family relationships and this, human connections are important. So I read a lot of books, and sometimes I make reviews, but I mostly talk about things like what you just heard, about how our lives and the small steps we can take to actually just gain freedom and get power back, get our power back and do things. One thing, if you've watched up to this particular point, please let me know. Would you like me to read more of my articles and talk about them? I've been thinking of doing a live video on YouTube where I actually read my articles, and then you can ask questions, and I will discuss, how I write, why I write, or what my goal was with those things, so that we can actually get this interconnected exchange of information about, my mind to yours and back. And yeah, so please let me know in the comment section, would you like to see more videos like this where I share my articles and share my perspective and answer questions about, you know, that. And without much ado, I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Oh, I forgot to mention, do you see my art pieces there? Let me just zoom this so you see. Do you see that? Do you see that? That is my, okay, my camera doesn't want to focus on them, but anyway. So those were made by my friend Tess, and I think they're pretty cool. I have a video where I opened them up, but I'm not sharing that yet because I just wanted to let you know that those were made by my friend, and I'm really stoked to have them. So yeah, Tess, thank you very much for making these for me. I'm going to make a whole video about why I did this and my thoughts around, you know, buying works from your friends who are creatives. I think it's something that we need to talk about. Yeah. So yeah, thanks. I just wanted to mention that. Bye.
The rain is pouring, I'll drive out to the forest, cause I can't ignore it there. I'll get there by morning, give my heart a warning, cause I can't ignore it there. That I should probably let you go, but I still need to let you know that I think the world of you. Oh, I should probably let you go, but I still need to.
This is hard. Y'all don't know, but this is a lot of work, man. Kamga puts work in this. By the way, I'm Jerod. You guys haven't met me, but I go to school with him. So yeah.
I'll definitely putting up a link to his channel. I think Jerod is cool. And how do you meet?
Huh?
How do we meet?
How did we meet?
Yeah.
In class. I don't know. What's up with this lens only going to like
Right? That's it. That's like
27 mil. It's cool.
Okay,
Okay, what do we got? Yes.
Oh, I mean, this is the handprinted songs.
Oh, this is beautiful.
In 2005.
Yes, sir, man.
Hooray!
Appreciate it.
I don't care.
Can I get my?
Isn't that funny?
It is funny. Can I get my glass of water too?
Yeah,
I appreciate it. You're good. You're good.
Thanks.
Guys,
Look at that.
our food came. This is amazing. Take it, Kamga.
Yes.
Kamga. Look at this.
Oh,
Look at that. Get that beautiful B-roll of that crap.
dark, man.
It's so dark. Come on. You
Yeah.
don't got a fast lens? What are you doing, man? Come on.
Let me see if I can do anything here. I have to add my ISO. Yep, I have to bump it up. And guys, I'm sorry, but that's the only way we can do this, okay? Bumping up the ISO.
Be like that, dude. You gotta do what you gotta do, man.
Yeah. It's actually not that grainy. So what are you getting there? It's what? Belgian ham?
It said Belgian waffle.
Belgian.
That's what it is, I believe.
Taylor,
Yeah,
what's
it
that?
looked really good.
Oh, that's a croissant sandwich.
croissant family.
Ooh, looks pretty. Actually, I like this angle.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Well,
This is the part where I spill my water on my camera and break it. It's fine though.
oh, don't jinx it. Don't say that. Yeah. Hey, Taylor. Oh, sorry.
Look, it's this one.
This is the next one. Dude, that's what I'm talking about right there.
Dude,
I appreciate it, man.
You're jealous.
I'm jealous. This guy's so.